Helldivers just got a massive balance patch in the patch 010000200, and it goes over missions, stratagems, weapons, enemies, and other improvements. And I just want to talk about it a bit because it balances a lot of the really bad weapons and nerfed one of the best ones. So it starts with Good day, Helldivers. Today we have a slightly bigger update for all of you to assist in the liberation efforts of our galaxy, as well as some new environmental threats to watch out for. May liberty guide your path. So, the overview is that they have balance changes to missions, stratagems, weapons, enemies, and Helldivers. They have general fixes and stability improvements, and they increase the level cap. So the first, gameplay. They have added two new hazards, which is the blizzards and the sandstorms. Now I haven't really played because I just started making this video before I updated the game, but it's really cool to see them adding new threats, at least on sand planets or snow planets. They also increased the level cap, so it has been increased from 50 to 150. Now over to balancing. Missions. Retrieve essential personnel. This was a mission that could feel almost impossible at higher levels, where at least when fighting against automatons, dropships would just drop on the personnel running into the building, and there would be tanks and devastators, and they will just be instantly shot. Now they have moved the spawn locations further away, so the drop pods and stuff will be dropped further away, so not in the middle of the objective. There are also fewer civilians required to complete the mission at higher difficulties. They also balanced destroy command bunkers. Now has more objective locations. The mission was too easy before compared to other missions, and it can now appear in operations from difficulty 5. Also, operation modifiers, they have the negative effects of operation modifiers that increase stratagem cooldowns or calling times. So for example, if you were playing Helldive, you could have 100% increased calling time, which means that the eat rockets went from 70 seconds to 140 seconds. But now, on the worst, it's going to be 50% cooling time. Primary, secondary, and support weapons. I was actually making a tier list video where I was ranking all the primaries, but because of these changes, I have to rewrite most of it and test all the weapons again, because they have buffed a bunch of weapons and they nerfed one of the best. So let's just go through it. They have some changes to the arc thrower. They fixed the charging inconsistency, so how you would charge up fully first, and then you could charge halfway and it will still shoot. Now they changed it so it will always take 1 second to charge a shot. They also reduced the distance from 50 to 35 meters to not have that slingshot that one-shots the teammates on the other side of the map. But they also increased the stagger force. The biggest problem with the arc thrower before was the inconsistency, so making it consistent is just a massive buff to the weapon, even though they lowered the range. Now, the guard dog also restores ammo from supply boxes. The laser one had infinite ammo, it just had to cool down. But now the normal one also resets its ammo, but from supply boxes. The anti-material rifle was already a really good stratagem, and increasing its damage by 30% is gonna make it a monster. It could already two-shot hulks, and it was really good against bots. Now, it's probably viable against Terminids, but it still doesn't have any armor pen from what I can see, so probably not. Now over to the primaries. So the Breaker Incendiary has gotten a damage buff. The damage per bullet is increased from 15 per bullet to 20 per bullet. So this is a 25% damage buff to the weapon, and any fire damage tick is increased by 50% from all sources. So this is a direct buff to the flamethrower, to the incendiary, also to the incendiary nade. So 50% sounds a lot, but I haven't played with it yet, so I'm not sure how much it actually is. Now, the Liberator Penetrator. This was one of the weapons that I was gonna rate really low in my tier list, and the biggest problem for that was that it didn't have full auto, at least against bugs, because it uses 4 shots to kill a hunter, and the burst mode has a 3 shot. But now they have added full auto mode for the Liberator Penetrator, which may be what it needs, but I don't think it's, maybe it's average now. We'll see, I have to do more testing with it. Now, the Dominator. The Dominator I already put way up there. I think I placed it 6th in the tier list. But now they've increased the damage from 200 to 300. So that's a 50% damage increase. And they've increased the stagger. It now probably feels more like the rocket-propelled primary that it should be. Now, the Diligence Counter Sniper. This, other than the Scythe, was the weapon I ranked the lowest, but now it seems like they have increased the armor penetration from light to medium. Now, the damage is still pretty low, so I don't know how much this is actually gonna affect the weapon, but this may bump it up a bit, so I'll have to play a bit around with it. The Slugger, everyone's favorite primary, has been nerfed. They have reduced the stagger that the Slugger has. I think it had the same amount of stagger as the Punisher, but maybe now it has a bit less. It also reduced the damage from 280 to 250, which isn't massive. I think it's still gonna one-shot hunters. We will see. I'll do some more testing. It says that it's also reduced the demolition force, which I'm not entirely sure what it means. Maybe like the explosion that it had, because I know that you can use the Slugger to open containers and stuff, so maybe that has been reduced, but we will see. It also fixed the armor penetration tag in the menu, because Slugger is medium armor pen. The Slugger, Liberator, Concussive, and Senator all fixed the armor penetration tags in their menus. The recoilless rifle has now increased the number of rockets you can restore from supply boxes from 2 to 3. Now, the EAT 17 is just it's very efficient. You can plop it down every 60 seconds, and you can also run a secondary support weapon with it, because you can get it so often, but we will see. Now, they also did this buff to the spear, where it increased the number of missiles from 1 to 2. Now, the spear has insane damage and is just really fun to play with, but it has some problems with the junkiness. Also, the ammo was really bad on it. The heavy machine gun, highest fire rate mode, was reduced from 1200 RPM to 950. So it is a nerf. I don't know if they lowered the lowest RPM. I didn't really use the 1200 RPM mode anyways. It's sad for those people who did use it, but I think it's gonna make the stratagem more new player friendly. So it pushes the weapon into the direction where it's supposed to be. The exosuit rockets will now penetrate armor only on direct hit. There has been some balancing adjustments made to different enemies. So Charger's normal melee attack now does less damage against exosuits. So this is the jump and the attack to the side that Chargers do. Now, I didn't feel like this was a huge problem before, but it is gonna make the exosuit feel a lot stronger, at least against the Terminids. Now, the only big problem with the Terminids is the brood commanders charging into you with the exosuit, but that's pretty easy to avoid. And the Bile Titans. The Bile Spewer and Nursing Spewer does less damage with their puke. Now, this is huge, because I feel like the biggest letdown when playing against Terminids is getting killed by the puke. Because it does so much damage, you can barely survive it if you get hit and jump to the wrong side. You can barely avoid it with a shield. Now, hopefully, you can barely avoid it without a shield. We will see, though. It doesn't say how much less damage. Maybe we won't even notice it, and it's only against exosuits that it really matters. But hopefully we will. Now, the Bile Titan can no longer be stunned. So this means that the EMS mortars doesn't work on it. The stun grenade was really good in higher difficulties. Used to stun Bile Titans and group them up, so one 500k bomb can take both out. Now that's going to be a lot harder. Shriekers no longer create bug breaches. Now this is a massive nerf to Shriekers. Them just being constantly in the air and ready to dive bomb you, and then also calling bug breaches, was super annoying. Another nerf is to the Shriekers, that them hitting you while they're dead, so if you shoot them while they're flying towards you, does significantly less damage. So before, if you shot them while they were already dive bombing you, and you killed them before they hit you, they still hit you with full damage. And they do a lot of damage, because they go for headshots. It makes it a lot easier to play against the Shriekers. You can now wait until they dive bomb you and then kill them right before they hit you. Now there's been some balancing adjustments to heavy and medium armor. Now, heavy armor makes you take 10% less damage while wearing it, and about 5% less damage while wearing medium armor. The fortified commando, so the 100 armor light armor, does not get the 5%. This is strictly based on if it says that it's medium, heavy, or light armor. And then they go over some fixes that they have done. They have fixed an issue where save settings for the PS5 would reset when the game is rebooted, causing such things as loadout and hints settings to reset. Enemies now properly target exosuits. So previously, if you called in an exosuit and you were not in it, enemies would prioritize shooting you instead of the exosuit. But now, if the exosuit is closer to them, they will also try to shoot your exosuit, or charge it, or Bile Spewers attack it, and stuff like that. So they fixed exosuits being able to fire their weapons while opening the minimap. Now, this was a bit of a problem, because if you want to ping stuff, or you want to move around on the minimap, then you're accidentally gonna fire a rocket or start your minigun, which was a bit annoying, which meant that you had to jump out of the exosuit, ping an objective, and then jump back in. Now, if you open the minimap, you won't be able to fire your exosuit. The Helldivers and the exosuits both had a bug that made them sometimes take explosion damage multiple times, making things like rocket devastators way too deadly. Now, the automaton enemies constellations that preferred to spawn more of certain devastator types did not work before. Now, they've also improved the system that prevented Hellpods steering too close to large or important objects to feel a bit iffy. We have solved issues where the effective areas around objects was a lot larger than intended. We have reduced the numbers of objects that prevent Hellpod steering. Note, this system is intended to prevent soft locks where players can drop on important interaction points or drop into unintended places. We will continue to monitor the state of the system after updates to see if additional tweaks are necessary. So before, when you felt like you couldn't move around when you were dropping down, or you couldn't hit that Bile Titan, It seems like the area around objects is a lot smaller now, so it's easier to stare around. But as they stated here, they still need to keep the feature in. And this is so that you can't land in front of, for example, terminals, so you don't softlock yourself, so you can actually finish the mission. The last big change they did was that the ballistic shield had some changes. So collision mesh has been slightly increased in size for more forgiveness. They changed the shield post so less of the Helldiver is exposed, and they addressed a bug where parts of the Helldiver would be vulnerable while using the shield in first person. Now, I don't think a lot of people used the ballistic shield anyways, because it felt like you could get shot even though you used it from the front, but it seems like they have made the shield a lot more viable for dealing with small fire. Now, in the tutorial, invisible collision partially blocking the doorway leading to the launch pad in the tutorial. I didn't really notice this, but it's good that they fixed this issue. And the last is issues that they still know, but they haven't fixed yet. The game might crash while picking up a snowball or throwing a grenade back. Now the others, I'm just going to put them on the screen here. It's various issues involving friend codes and invites and crossplay. Now this have been up for a while. They still haven't fixed it, but they at least know that it's a problem. Now the last issues that they've added some new ones. Explosive weapons that include only direct hit damage but not explosive damage. Explosions do not break your limbs, except for when you fly into a rock. Planet liberation reaches 100% at the end of every defend mission. Drowning in deep water with a vitality booster equipped puts Helldivers in a broken state. Stratagem beam might attach itself to an enemy, but it will deploy in its original location. And some player customizations like the body or title may reset after restarting the game.